Going to Morocco without going to Fez is like going to the beach without going into the water. Now, have you ever experienced a rough bath as the cultural heartbeat of the country? These are the reasons why Fez is an absolute must in your Morocco itinerary. From the best bath you've ever received to the wonderful types of people that inhabit this city. Ensuring that your trip is one of the most memorable and culturally enriching trips that you have ever had. And make sure to stick around for my amazing, but I also got manhandled bathing experience. Get ready to crush the art of experiencing culture like a travel pro. Let's go. Now, the Medina Qadima in Fez is also one of the oldest in the world. It was absolutely stunning. Now, this one is slightly tourist trappy, but not as much as other ones that I've now been to. I found that the more you got into the heart of it, the closer you got to the Tannery and then al-Qarawiyyin University, that's when those tourist trappy stalls and aggressiveness really came out. But when you were a little bit farther back, it was honestly just normal merchants kind of selling stuff. And there was definite non-locals there, but that's also where all the locals did all their shopping. Now, I bought one thing. I was originally quoted at 950 dirhams. I haggled my way down to 350. And then to be extra cheeky, I went to my host and I told him what I wanted, and he ended up getting it for me for Stick around until the end to see what this amazing, my new favorite article is.
This park is a little piece of heaven inside the city of Fez. It's absolutely gorgeous.
If you want to break from that city life, you know, the brick buildings, and you just kind of want to relax, the Jardin, assuming I said that right, is a small garden park inside the city. It's super beautiful. It's small, you can walk around it. It's just lush greenery. There's a big pond. There's a lot of birds flying around. It's super peaceful. I enjoyed it. I was only there for 2 hours, but it was a nice break kind of from city reality. And it's definitely a good place to kind of pick up a coffee and then sit on a bench and relax. Fez is a city full of culture and history, and al-Qarawiyyin is a mosque and university, and it is the oldest university in the whole world. It is right smack in the middle of the Medina Qadima. Now, an important thing to note, if you are a non-Muslim, you can actually go inside the university because it's a university and a mosque together. And because it's right inside the Medina Qadima, it is very hard to see it from the outside on ground level. So you would need to go onto different roofs. There's a bunch of different areas to do so, and then look at it from there. Inside Fez, in the Medina, there is a tannery. It's again one of the oldest tanneries. Fez just seems to be the oldest of everything. They have a few different ones, but they have one that is the biggest within the Medina, and it is where they tan all the different leathers. It's a super interesting sight to see because they do it the old-fashioned way. It's not like it's some factory, it's all outside. They've got these giant vats of different chemicals, and they're all different colors, and it's super interesting. It gives beautiful photos. You can see it at ground level inside the tannery itself, but that costs money. Or you can kind of take a few routes up through the stairs to be on the top of some of the roofs to look down into the tannery itself. Now, a big thing is while you're looking for this tannery, people will try and stop you if they see you looking almost confused. Like, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? And they go, come here, come here, come here. I'll show you the best spot. Show you the best spot. And then the normal thing, once you get there, it's like, okay, I showed you. Give me money, money, money. And it's like, So the easiest thing to do is when you're looking for the tannery, find it on Google Maps. It's easily labeled. Follow the path. Ignore everyone and say that you do not have money. And you'll see that 80% of them will honestly go, yeah, and then they'll just dip. The only bonus that is if you do go with someone that does bring you, but they will actually give you a long explanation of everything about the tannery, which makes it a little bit more interesting. Now, what I did, I found it on my own, and I went up one of these flights of stairs, and there was 5 other guides talking to 5 other people all about everything you need to know about the tannery, so I got free information anyways. Now, this isn't directly in Fez, but another activity to do when visiting Fez is to take a day trip to Chefchaouen. It's just a smaller city. This is the city painted in blue. It's unbelievably gorgeous. It's 4 hours away, so it's not a quick thing. It's a day trip for sure. And I found a price of 30 Canadian dollars. A few different people said, oh, you should spend 2 to 3 days there. I only did it for 1 day. And a YouTube short is coming on that soon. Now this is a big one. This is Jabel Zalagh. This is one of the mountains that is surrounding Fez. This as an activity is definitely kind of a 1-day adventure because it's around 8 kilometers. It's about 8 kilometers from the garden that I just mentioned.
It's not hot. That right there, almost there, getting closer.
Google Maps says it's about a 2.5-hour walk, obviously depending on your walking speed. I did it in about 2 hours. But nonetheless, 2 hours there, 2 hours back, and you wanna have some nice views, and you wanna spend some time up there while you're there to take everything in. So 1 full day for this is definitely recommended. And I've been on a lot of different hikes in a lot of different countries, but there was something about this one, it kind of just hit different. The inner country of Morocco is unbelievably hilly and beautiful and amazing, and hiking up this mountain and seeing all those views of the city, the mountain ranges, it'll just make you feel some kind of way. Now there's a lot of different places that you can stay in Fez, but I stayed in a riad inside the Medina Qadima. Now, this would be my recommendation of the thing to do because it gave you an essence of how a standard Moroccan family lives its normal life. The riads are a very interesting type of building to live in because they have this giant center column that is just empty space that goes all the way up to a giant skylight because it's very tall but very small. So you got these steep stairs anywhere from 4 to 6 levels, and they provide a good view of the surrounding area. And they're all within walking distance. So now my Airbnb was right on the edge of the Medina, and that was nice because, like I said, this was the more local area. So this is where all the locals did all their shopping. I wasn't being harassed by merchants to try and buy their things, not tourist trappy, and everything was more local prices. And the interesting thing from what I experienced from mine and what I heard from other people is that when you get a riad here, even on Airbnb, the families inside these riads will cook for you, kind of cook breakfast, maybe dinner, maybe lunch, things like that. And I ate a few different meals with them, and it was so tasty, and it was just so fun to eat with them and talk with them in the mornings. And getting an Airbnb in this area is nice because it has everything surrounding it of the places that you would go while you're visiting Fez. So it makes it a lot easier to get around and see everything you need to see, especially if you're only there for a short period of time.
On my way to Hamaam.
Okay, now, if you want something that's gonna leave you breathless, and I mean breathless, get Hamaam. Hamaam is a Moroccan bathing experience. You can't call it a Moroccan bath because that doesn't do it justice. Bathing experience is what it is. I didn't know what I was getting. I was expecting to show up to this bathhouse, you know, and get a bath. He described it as rough. And I was like, how the hell is a bath rough? And they had said that it's like a massage and a bath, and I was like, okay, I was like, this sounds good. But rough is an understatement. An understatement. So when I was brought to this bathhouse, I was expecting to be dropped off and then I was gonna be bathed by an employee. No, not the case. I went with the dad, which I was like, oh, maybe he's just joining me. No, he was the one that fucking bathed me. So we show up and we walk in and it was like, strip. So I was only in, you know, my bathing suit and he was in his boxers. It's recommended boxers or bathing suit, and my bathing suit's tiny enough, so that's fine. You walk into this huge sauna-like room, but it's not wood, it's like bath tile, super steamy. And then he looked at me, he was like, lie down. I was like, okay. And the things that you have are just these 2 huge buckets of hot water filled by the tap that's over to the side. And you repeatedly fill up these buckets and he's throwing water at you. You know, he cleans you. He has like one of those mats that you put over your hands and just rubs the shit out of your skin, exfoliates it, washes your hair. They do everything. You are very clean and you feel great after it. Now the rough part, I'm saving this for last because it's the most interesting. It's not a typical massage. The normal deep tissue massage where they're using their thumbs to like get into knots. No, I mean like I was put on the ground and he wrapped one of my legs with his leg, grabbed my other leg, threw it over his neck, and then he leaned back for this giant stretch. And you know, he did that with my other leg. He did another one where, you know, legs up in the air and he's hitting the back of my hamstrings to stretch it out. You know those yoga videos where you see people, you know, kind of balancing on other people's feet and shit? Yeah, imagine that, but you have half the amount of clothes on, you're soaking wet, and you're in a bath sauna. It was wild. And most importantly is I would absolutely recommend it. It felt so good because obviously it's like hot yoga, but I felt like I could take on the world after that. I was so relaxed. I was so stretched out. It was everything I needed 3/4 of the way through my Morocco trip. And if it wasn't just a Morocco thing, I would absolutely get one of those once a week wherever I am in the world. This is just a quick picture of where my Airbnb was inside Fez. As you can see, Fez is pretty big, but all the interesting stuff is kind of up towards the north. My Airbnb is the Star. Now, from around here, you can kind of see, I didn't have a specific route, but all the red circles are just the places that I described in this video and the notable places to go. So getting an Airbnb inside the edge of the Medina is good because it keeps everything close and nearby. And importantly, it's key to kind of have it on the edge of the Medina because that's where you're seeing all the other locals, the local children, teenagers, and the adults just living their normal life. So it was super neat and again, enriching to just be amongst those people going out, kind of grocery shopping with everyone and seeing how they live their day-to-day lives. The perfect example of what Fez honestly really is the spice shop owner that I had a heart-to-heart with. He was so chill and he was like, come look at my shop while I was walking back to my place. And I was like, sorry bro, I don't have any money. We just love talking and meeting new people. He's like, you don't have any money? That's fine, you can come into the shop. What's your name? And he just explained that like people in Morocco are of a different lifestyle than Casablanca, Marrakesh, and some of the other cities in Morocco, because people here are just trying to enjoy life and they want the people visiting to enjoy it all the same. So you stuck around to the end, and that one thing that I bought was this, and it is called a jalaba. Now a jalaba is camel and sheep wool made into this giant coat sweater. It has not pockets, but this is so you can stick your hands and reach inside your normal clothes pockets. It has a wonderful hood. You roll up the front part, and this thing keeps you so warm. I've been wearing it in France when I go out because I don't have a coat, and the stares that I am getting are absolutely hilarious. This is a typical item of the Berber people in Morocco. It's what they wear in the mountains and it keeps them warm. A funny feature is they use the hood as a pocket. And I did it a few times with my water bottle before it broke. Rip. And it just fits in there so well, and because it's so big and so heavy, and like the way the hood is attached to it, it keeps it upright without pulling on your neck or shoulders. And this is how low it goes. It is to the ankles, and it's amazing. And I am going to wear this everywhere as my new coat because it is so comfy and it is so practical. Now, my real raw review of Fez was that I honestly absolutely loved it, and I would recommend it to anyone and everyone that's visiting Morocco. If you are going to Morocco, you can't not include Fez. in your trip. The best part about this city is it's so filled with culture, which is amazing. The people are so chill there, but the city as an overall has a much slower pace in comparison to Casablanca. And then from what I've seen on Marrakesh and Tangier and Rabat, they're all bigger industrial style cities. Everyone has that I gotta go, I got shit to do mentality, hustle and bustle. But everyone in Fez just seemed to have a Sunday stroll type of vibe. People were just happy to, you know, be living. I vibe with that personally. Was a nice relaxing way to finish off my Morocco trip. I was there for 4 days, and in those 4 days, I definitely didn't feel a sense of rushing. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It was, I got everything done, I explored everything. I did it at a slow pace. You could easily do Fez in 2 to 3 days. It would be rushed if you did it in 1 day, but 2 to 3 days is definitely a solid amount of time and experience all the culture to make it that memorable and culturally enriching trip. Now subscribe and follow along for more real, raw reviews and travel tips, all from my personal experience to help you travel more effectively, have more fun traveling, and showing you what the true wonders of traveling are really about. And make sure to watch this video right here, because this is everything you need to know about Casablanca, because it is not what you would expect.
Have I longboarded my way into your heart yet?